Are you tired of being weighed down? Have you fallen asleep on your health? This is your wake up call with my dad, Keith, my husband, Kyle, and me, Ashley.
Good morning, everyone. It is day 76, and this is your wake up call. We've got the whole crew here, and it is Saturday. So, it is just kind of a free for all day, I think. So, Ashley, what do you got to talk about? I think you had something you want to talk about.
Yeah, we keep Saturdays open just to kind of talk about whatever we decide to talk about. And the other day, I have a bunch of notebooks around the house of different shapes and sizes. I've always had them. I take them to church and I take notes in them, or I take them to meetings, or I put grocery lists in them. I just have a lot of little random notebooks. And so the other night we were going to a meeting and I needed a notebook, and I pulled this legal pad off the shelf. And I was flipping through it to find some paper that I hadn't written on, and it turned out I'd written on most of them. And I found this list that I remember making, but I'd forgotten about. And it's a checklist of all of these things that I want to do after losing weight. And I made this a long time ago, not even with this journey in particular, not even with this restart. Like, this was a while ago. And I looked through this list of all these things, and I am already able to check off like 5 or 6 of them.
Awesome.
Wow.
But it's like, I'll just go ahead and read it to you. But this is my list of things that I want to do. And most of these are non-scale things. Some of them are, but like the first one is blood pressure normal. Well, when we started this, I rarely checked my blood pressure, but I was starting to have issues because my heart would race and my face would turn red, and I could like feel my heartbeat in my head, and I know that's a blood pressure thing, you know. I just knew that my blood pressure was high. I could just tell by the way I would feel. And so I can check that box off because I'm not having blood pressure issues anymore. I rarely even get headaches anymore, but, and when I first started exercising, like my face would be just beet red. I mean, it would look horrible. And even now I still get red, but it is not like it was. So I really feel like my blood pressure is normal now and is where it needs to be. Cause I don't feel it like I used to. I used to could feel my blood pressure going up. And I don't feel it anymore. The next box is blood sugar normal. I haven't checked my blood sugar since I've started this, but I almost guarantee that it's right. I think I'm almost positive. Actually, maybe we should go over to your mom's house today and I'll borrow her machine because I really am curious. But I'm sure that it's a normal range now. I've never been diabetic, but what I was told is that I was heading in that direction. So last time we went, like I was borderline, and that was a couple years ago. So anyway, I need to check my blood pressure my blood sugar to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's in the normal range. My next box says to weigh under 300 pounds. I get to check that box off too. I'm not going back to the 300, y'all. I'm not going to ever see it again.
Yep.
The rest of them, I'll just kind of read through a few of them, but like, wear a large size t-shirt comfortably. I'm wearing an XL right now pretty comfortably, and I want to get down into a large t-shirt. And then I have medium t-shirt on there. And then I have like certain sizes of jeans that I want to get down into. This one, I want to fit on theme park rides and roller coasters. I want to fit on them. I want to fit in an airplane seat comfortably. The last time I flew, I had to get a seatbelt extender. And that was before we got married, so I was smaller then than I am now, I'm pretty sure. These next 2 boxes are so exciting because it says walk 3 miles and then walk 5 miles.
How about
I
that?
could definitely check off that 3. I haven't done 5 continuously yet without sitting down, so I'll work on that. I've walked 5 miles in a day, obviously, but not like without stopping. So,
Yeah.
and then, I have complete a 5K, and then I have like some powerlifting goals. And I'm 75, 70, what day are we on? 76 now?
Yep.
I don't even know. I'm 76 days in, and I'm already checking off like a quarter of my list that I made, and I'm really excited about that. So, anyway, that was a lot of talking for me, but I did want to bring up this idea of non-scale victories. What are some things that, and Dad, you can even already speak from experience, what are some things you've done since you've lost your weight that you couldn't do before? And Kyle, what are some things that you look forward to doing after you get this weight off?
Well, you were talking about the rides. We've got a place here in North Carolina. It's called Carowinds. It's down a little bit south of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been on a roller coaster in a long time. And, I've never been a big roller coaster guy anyway, but,
yeah,
I had dropped a little over 100 pounds or whatever this couple of summers ago. And so we went to Carowinds, and your mama won't get on a ride.
No.
And we were with a couple that the other fella, he's pretty large.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably close to 400 pounds, another power lifter fella. And so when they measured him or whatever, they've got these seats sometimes outside the rides that you sit in to see if you can actually sit in the seat before you stand in line a half a day to get on the ride.
Oh, that's nice. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and so he tried it out, and he wasn't going to be able to ride, so I ended up riding with his wife.
Because you fit.
On roller coasters. We did 2 or 3 of them that day. And
that's awesome.
So anyway, I checked that box for myself. I'll probably not ride roller coasters again, but
you can.
Yeah, but it was good and it was fun that day.
Yeah.
So that's one thing
awesome.
that came up. Random thing.
That's cool.
What about you, Kyle?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's some stuff that I'm already noticing that I can do that I'm really excited about. And I know it seems weird, but like the other night we were sitting in the living room and I crossed my legs for the first time in probably 5 years, 6 years. Like, not like one over the top of the other, but ankle on my knee, which is something I haven't been able to do in a really long time.
Cool.
Shirts and stuff are fitting better.
You're putting your shoes on easier than you used to.
Shoes are going on. Now, I am, here lately I've been having some problems with my knees and my hips and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm having trouble getting up and down a little bit more.
That's just soreness a lot, though.
That's just, soreness, but I've had some sciatica problems.
Yeah.
No, just kind of basic stuff and stuff that I'm looking forward to. I think riding rides in amusement parks is definitely on my list. The biggest one for me is just being able to go into a store and buy clothes off the rack.
Yes, that's a big one. Me too.
Being able to go into, and not just a store, because, go to Walmart, buy you some jeans, that's one thing. To me, it's like going to a store that's got some nicer clothes and being able to walk in and be able to purchase some clothes that are really well fitting and look really nice without having to walk out, disappointed or ashamed or whatever.
Big people clothes are more expensive.
Yeah.
Because one, you most of the time have to buy them in specialty stores or catalogs. And it's more material because it's bigger. But big people, Man, I look forward to shopping a clearance rack in the ladies section and just cleaning up, like
Yeah.
I have a lot of thinner friends that don't have the problem that I do, and they find so many really good deals on stuff that I can't find usually because of my size. So I'm with you on that. I look forward to shopping in the regular section at a regular store and buying something half of the price. So
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else, and this is kind of a social thing. 75 days ago, my social anxiety was getting really bad.
it was.
And it's still not 100% where it needs to be. Anytime I get in any tight enclosed space, I'm very self-conscious about my size.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very self-conscious about my size because I just feel like I'm in everybody's way. And really, I mean, 75 days ago, in any setting, I felt like I was in people's way. So, just to be able to walk around and not have people stare at you or feel like you're in a person's way all the time, or like, oh great, here comes the big guy, he's on our table, or he's going to sit on this row, so we all got to scoot down.
I want to be able to get on an airplane without anxiety and not care if I have to sit next to a stranger, because I'm going to take up half their seat, or,
Yeah, those smaller jets where it's kind of like a airport to airport where it's only, 4 seats in a row across the whole plane, and you got that one aisle seat that's on the opposite side up against the wall, but they're so small that you kind of are curved. Yeah, those seats are the worst. And I always somehow end up getting set in them, so my leg has to hang out in the aisle, or it's always something that just, I don't know.
That being out in the public thing, and people gawking at you, I've had that all my life. But there's a difference between, I've been in situations earlier in my life where I was in good shape. And I'd walk into a restaurant and everybody's gawking and looking and pointing and everything else, and that's not so bad a feeling, because it's more or less they think you're a freak instead of just a fat whatever.
Yeah.
So that's one feeling. But I have been in other situations later on in my life where I'd walk in a restaurant and I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel good about myself. I was too fat or whatever. And that's a whole different feeling. It's not a good feeling, but it's,
No, it isn't. And having to walk into a restaurant, and I mean, the other night, we took Timmy down to hang out with Andrew, and we went and got some food to eat, and they asked, do you want a booth or a table? Well, the last 3 or 4 years, hands down, I'm going to say I need a table. I have to have a table.
Yeah.
Because, one, I'm just so large, most booths are not designed with large people in mind.
No.
And so
most things in the world aren't designed with large people in mind.
No. And so she said, we got a booth available now, and it was like, okay, let's try it. Let's take a booth. Now I sat on the side of the table that I felt had more room, but there was still, I wasn't overflowing on the table.
There were several inches between us and the table.
Yeah. There was enough room that, I could sit comfortably and not, honestly, going to a Cheddar's before, and this is not picking on Cheddar's, it's most restaurants are like this. You sit on a booth. For me, at 420, which was my absolute probably highest weight, 415, 420, I was overflowing onto the table. Like my table would cut my stomach in half.
Yep.
And so I'd have to sit there awkwardly and in an uncomfortable way for most of the meal. Well, just going into a booth and setting in a booth and not feeling absolutely just crammed in there is going to be a good feat.
And another thing to remember about these booths and Cheddar's, the booth seats themselves are bolted down. You can't move these. You can usually slide the table a little bit, but so I thought that was a great gauge of where you were, because it's not like this booth had more space in it than the one next to us. Like, they're all the same, and we've been in that restaurant before and not fit very well, and we fit a lot better the other night, and so that was neat.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. I mean, it was a good win. It was a good win for me. So, I didn't even think about that till we started talking about just the different types of stuff that we've encountered. So,
Yeah.
That's one of those things. It's just being able to go out in the public and not have to be self-conscious because I fall in with everybody. I don't stand out in that way.
Yeah.
Right.
And
You can stand out in a good way or a bad way, and I don't want to stand out in a bad way.
Yeah. So
Well,
it's a little bit different.
I can remember walking around when I was a kid with my grandfather.
Who was very tall.
He walked around his adult life telling people he was 6'6", and I know for a fact he was probably 6'8", 6'9", because he had to duck his head to walk through a door, and the doorway is 6'8".
Mm-hmm.
So, he would get all this gawking and stuff. People, everywhere we went, people were looking at him and pointing at him and everything. How's the weather up there, kind of stuff. And I kind of got used to that as a kid, understanding that concept.
Right.
But like I say, I have been gawked at before for different reasons.
Yeah.
For being big and fat instead of just being
big.
Big. It's two different things.
It is.
So I can understand both things, and the big and fat thing is not where you want to be. Because
you can't change your stature. You can't change how tall you are, but you can definitely change how fat you are.
Yeah. I mean, going to sporting events, I've never had trouble sitting in the seat.
Yes.
Because of my hips have usually been pretty thin.
Narrow.
Right.
Yeah.
But my upper body, my shoulders were so wide that I still to this day can't go to a sporting event and sit comfortable.
You slide into other people's seats.
Yeah, but
you have to kind of put your arm around people.
Yeah. So those seats are not made for big people either.
They're not. And that's another thing to add to this list. We are going to Orlando in September to watch Alabama play football.
Yeah.
And I
I guess
I'm a little nervous about that, but I think that I'm going to be fitting just fine, especially by then.
Yeah, I'm hoping by then I'll be a little bit more comfortable. Yeah. And it depends on the kind of seat. I'm always happy for stadium seating when we go, and it's just bench seating, just because it gives you a little bit of that wiggle room.
Yeah.
But when it's set seating, I love going to hockey games. I love going to watch Predators play.
Mm-hmm.
And Bridgestone Arena, and we go to concerts there too. Bridgestone Arena has
their seats are
very narrow because they're trying to fit as many people as they can into that space. So they give you the absolute minimum that the state law requires for your space, and
they're trying to get as many people in the stadium or venue as they can.
Yep, and so sell as many tickets as they can to whatever event they have, and I can understand that from a business standpoint. But I'm looking forward to being able to go, and you see all these people who are just sitting comfortably in their seat and don't have to worry about it.
I would pay the money. I would pay the money if they had less seats in that place and the ticket prices were more. I'd pay the money for a bigger seat. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Well, I think it's a concept that will eventually catch on because people are getting bigger and bigger and wider and wider.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's right.
and restaurants and anywhere you go, they're going to have
Well,
seating for big people.
Big people.
And they're going to
Yeah.
Look at
charge you for
movie
it.
theaters. Look at movie theaters now installing luxury seating. Like
Yeah.
they've got recliners with foot props and everything, and you get pretty good amount of room. So
We
I feel-
actually went to a movie.
I filled one of those up myself.
Mhm.
Though.
Yeah, we went to one of those, and those recliners are very wide. I mean, I was very comfortable, and I was sitting next to somebody I don't know, and we never even touched. So that's those things are huge. But
Timmy
also,
wasn't feeling it though, was he?
well, Timmy, yeah, he didn't like sitting next to people he didn't know, but the tickets were sold out, so it was, Anyway, but we actually, when I was home last weekend, there's a movie theater in town, and it's older. When do you think it was built?
You talking about ours here? Or are you talking about
Marketplace?
Yeah, the cheap show.
Yeah, that thing's probably, I'm going to say 25 years maybe.
Okay,
20 years, I don't know. Maybe not that much.
So it's an older theater, and they sell discounted movies, like movies that are fixing to head out of the theater. And so they're discounted tickets. So it's an older theater. It's not updated, and the seats in this place are not very big. And the last few times we've been in North Carolina and gone to see a movie, I've had to slide into this chair, and I had no room at all. It was like I barely fit. And we went the other night, and I could move around. And I sat there for a good 10 minutes before I even noticed it. And I was like, wait a second. I have a little bit of room on the side of I can actually move a little bit back and forth. And I didn't have to do the fat girl slide to get inside the seat. You kind of sit on it, and then you let yourself, slide down.
Sit on the edge of the seat and slide back. Yeah. I have a variation called the Fat Boy Slide, so I know.
But that was cool too. I was like, man, I am getting it. I'm sitting in this seat. So yeah, I think a lot of people who've never struggled with their size and their weight, it's so unrelatable. They don't understand what a big deal it is for that kind of stuff. But I know if you're listening to us right now and you've ever been big, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
And it's just as exciting sometimes to sit in a seat and fit than it is to get on a scale and see a loss. It's all exciting. It's all a big deal. It's all a win. Yep.
Agreed. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. And what is on your list? What as you're going on your journey, what are you excited to do? Or what have you already done on your list? What have you checked off? I'm anxious to hear that. You can find us on social media at Our Heavy House. Send us a message. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear it. And I hope that you have a good weekend. It's Saturday. Get out there and have fun. Get moving. And we will be back tomorrow. Talk to you later.
Bye.